Sup, bitches, and welcome to our brand new podcast, the Sassy Spiritual Bitches Podcast. I'm Randy.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we are just gonna shoot the shit with you. Basically, we're gonna talk about, authenticity, really. Alignment, how we ended up with this new podcast, basically, and just living in your truth.
Absolutely. We are excited to have rebranded. It definitely feels a little bit more in alignment with what Randy and I have been up to, so it's kind of exciting. But we wanted to talk about alignment because it's been coming up so much in each of our practices. So it's been a really hot topic. And when I actually asked Randy, I'm like, what's our first theme going to be? We both had this idea kind of in the background, like introducing ourselves again and really drilling that point home for people because it's just been appearing.
Totally. And, you know, I think back even a couple months ago, because we started the first part of this, in January, I think?
Mm-hmm.
And January to now, it's not even a full 5 months, but man, shit's changed. Is that just me?
No, so much is changing. It's been crazy. Like personally, professionally, energetically out there, things are shaking and shifting. So it's so important to do that self-reflection to figure out what's really in alignment with you right now. Because guess what? It might not be what was in alignment for you 5 months ago.
Yesterday,
literally.
like for reals, yesterday. So
it's almost like I want to let out a huge sigh and just be like, oh, like having to reassess all the time and reroute can get really exhausting, but worth it.
It can. But you know what? It doesn't have to be, I don't know, maybe I could just be weird. I could be. But I don't find it really a thing. Like it's, not hard to check in.
I feel I can check in really well, but it's having to reroute. Like it causes so much like turbulence in my life. You know, like the expectations that I set up for everybody and then now having to backpedal and like tell everyone they can't expect that from me anymore. That hasn't been overly fun.
Well, that's part of being too much of a planner.
Yes.
Your little Virgo moon or whatever it is you are.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't like change. I don't.
Yes, I remember reading that in your Akashic record now that you say that.
But I don't actually have that hard a time with it as long as I just kind of like, we'll accept it for what it is and go with the flow.
Good for you. I actually love change, but it's the people around me that drive me nuts. But obviously something I need to work on is the expectations other people have on me and not giving a fuck.
The expectations people have or the expectations you perceive people have?
Probably that.
Okay.
Yeah. And being way too sensitive.
A little bit.
Yeah, definitely. My God. The other day I've been listening to music a lot because I love music. It's been like something my whole life that's been like the main focal point. Like I'm pretty sure all I did from age 14 to like 25 was go to concerts. This was my only hobby. It's still would be my only hobby if we could go. But I'm obsessed with music. And then I don't know, like life happened and I felt I was supposed to like outgrow pieces of those things and like leave some of like my music obsession behind. And then all of a sudden I'm doing all this healing now and I'm listening to music all the time. So I bought these little like AirPods and I'm just listening to music at home. And my partner like gets so frustrated that I'm not like listening to him, but he's in his own little world all the time. And now I'm in my own little world and he's just like, pay attention to me. I'm like, no, like get out of here. I don't have to do anything I don't want to.
There you go.
But it's like those little things, shifting those little things. Like he just expects me to sit there and listen to him while he's viding out, you know? I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, I don't have to just accommodate you. And like, it's an expectation I set up that now I have to unset up. But that's the kind of change. It's like, sometimes wouldn't we just be better off if we were like always alone? But that's not the purpose.
Well, you know what? There's this such thing as healthy boundaries. But
which I suck at, let's be honest.
But we're our own worst enemy to start with. Because if you're kind of a pushover.
Hello, that's me.
Which we don't like to think that we are, but I mean, 99% of us, whether you think you are or not, you're a pushover in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to set these boundaries, it gets a little bit dicey.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, it's our own damn fault.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we got to learn to take responsibility for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not an excuse, however, to just, not be who we are authentically, because it's, hard. That's not an excuse.
And that is a huge thing. Like right now, the theme that's coming up with that kind of triggered this podcast episode is people really are asking me like, no, what am I supposed to do?
Mm.
Like, maybe I want to do what you're doing. Maybe I want to do this or try that. And it's like, you by all means can do that. But the issue is no one will ever be able to tell you what you're supposed to be doing. That is your job.
Yeah.
But people don't want to sift through their onion layers to get to the root. They really want that easy thing. It's too hard to dig through all of those layers to figure out what our truth is. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how many times you find a way to bypass it. It's not going to work out, because success and manifestation and abundance happens when you're in your real, true, authentic alignment. And you're never going to know what that is until you start peeling the layers back and like trial and error.
Exactly.
What actually lights me up? What actually brings me down? And course correcting.
What are my flaws? What are my strengths?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had this preconceived notion, I guess would be the best way to term it, of what I thought my strengths were and what I thought my flaws were. And when I started to peel back the onion layers, as we say, a lot of them were backwards. I had them completely backwards. So no wonder I was having such a hard time at life, because I wasn't at all living in alignment. Like I had my certain things that were authentic to me, but I was squashing them down.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, like you say, I've outgrown that. I have to outgrow. I got to be an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. So it's kind of like, oh shit. So this weird little fucked up version of myself that I considered a flaw is my biggest strength. Well, go figure. Who knew?
Wow, is that ever true? I'm just like assessing as you're saying that what happened to me. And I thought, like, I say this in every session I do. Like, I was like kind and generous and doing like, helping others and, rise by lifting others. And I fucking did that, you guys. And it killed me. Like, it's not a strong suit to put everyone else ahead of yourself, which is like something in my world that was like totally a learned behavior that was internalized and like celebrated, was like to prioritize everybody else. And then realizing that's like your kryptonite that like kills you though. Oh man, it takes a long time to rewire that and be like, it's healthy to be a little bit selfish sometimes.
Well, we're conditioned from birth to ignore our own needs.
Yes.
So, and we're living with this perception that if we do something for ourselves, like for instance, set a boundary, then we're selfish. We are bad people.
Man, I still have to work against that. And I know it to be true because the universe rewards me constantly for performing in my boundaries.
Yeah.
And then penalizes me every time I step outside them. So I know that this is true, but it's still hard to uncondition.
Mm-hmm. Well, it takes time.
Oh, God.
Right? Mm-hmm. We have so many ingrained, I don't know what you want to even fucking call it, ingrained belief systems, ingrained conditioning, ingrained ancestral trauma cycles that are just perpetuated over and over and over and over. So, I mean, there's a reason why authenticity scares people.
It is a lot to dig through.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, it's where the treasure lies.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's like you don't have a choice. Unless you want to continue cycling in negative karma and cycles of lack and struggle. Like I gave examples to a couple people earlier today. I was like, you know, karma doesn't cut you a break, and authenticity is the golden ticket into good karma. And you can avoid it for as long as you willingly want to, but this is how come you get a speeding ticket. This is how come you smash your phone. This is how come you hit every red light. This is how come your hot water heater blows up, or your water bill was 5 times the price that you expected. You can't escape it. And clearly nobody wants that bad karma or bad luck. So start digging.
Oh, dig, 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 dig. No.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting I see that a lot with my clients, how bad, because I mean, my clients come to me because they're looking for authenticity. They're, you know, there's that inner freedom, I guess, right? There's that inner freedom that comes with alignment, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it's so curious and so fascinating to watch. And I mean, I've been through this, so I know exactly what they're going through, but to watch them fight themselves over and over and over, you know, and to watch them over like a span of, you know, 8 sessions, 10 sessions, do this complete flip of how their mind works, and how, like, and they stop fighting themselves, and just the ease that comes from that. I mean, I think that's my favorite part of my job, is when you see that flip and you see them relax and they start to just be themselves, and to kind of learn what that feels like. It's like the greatest fucking thing.
I'm watching
ever.
Randy describe this, and it just looks like pure joy. And I'm like, okay, it's time to book my second counseling session. I need that. And it's like, I do think that I'm fairly aware of like what my authenticity is supposed to look like, because I can read it in the Akashic records. But that doesn't stop me from panging and cycling around guilt for choosing myself sometimes. Like I still am battling that, and I'd really like that battle to stop. Like I usually am able to err on the side of like staying in alignment, but it doesn't make the guilt and, you know, questioning and the dialogue that I'm channeling through my mind go away. That's what I really like to get rid of.
Well, yeah.
I think we all do. We all want to
so.
be able to choose our happiness and not feel like it's selfish, not feel guilt about it, not feel like we have failed at doing something we should have done. But I'm reading into some stuff right now, and it was like I've barely started. And one of the things it talks about is the feelings are like the language of our soul. And we're so used to tuning out that and torturing ourselves and suffering through things because that's what happened with our parents, or that's what happened through generation. So we keep opting for things that we've been taught and ignoring the things that we feel. And our feelings are really our soul crying out for like, stop this. This is torture for you.
Yeah. But we're taught to compartmentalize.
Yes.
And oh my God, was I good at it? I was so good at it. I could ignore shit going on around me and just keep that nice, cool, this is nothing. It is what it is. Whatever. Until one day, that led to my complete and utter mental breakdown. So compartmentalizing ain't good. But I find we pride ourselves on it, though.
Oh, our society is...
It's like, no emotion. Oh, look at, oh my God, she's so strong. Oh my God, I can't believe that he's just...
Absolutely.
You know, and we praise it.
We do.
And we put people on pedestals for it.
For how much stuff they can do. I'm a mom. I'm a good wife. I have my house clean. I take my kids to sports. I do this. Oh, that is just debilitating.
Like, and it's just, oh my God, she didn't show any emotion. Oh my God, look how strong she's being.
She's so happy and brave, even though she's drowning in all this bullshit. Like, yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable. And then for me, I wasn't really compartmentalizing. I kept myself so busy.
Oh, I did that too.
That there wasn't a moment to sit down and reflect, like, am I happy doing this? Am I exhausted? Do I even enjoy doing this? I just kept myself so busy, and then I ended up burning out. And then I felt it, but that's when it was just catapulted into depression.
You're just kind of numb to everything.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's kind of a cycle.
Yes. And it's a journey to find that core self. Like, I mean, Randy and I are really doing it. Like, I think we can consider ourselves people now that have manifested a level of success with our craft, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're still peeling back layers. I'm still constantly tweaking and revising the things that I'm offering to better suit what is good for me and my clients, what works best for everybody. And it's not perfect, and it's probably going to keep evolving. So it's not easy. So if you're looking for a quick bypass or a quick answer, it's just not going to come. And the people that want the quick answer are often the people that have the most work to do.
Oh, 100%.
So if you're someone who's like, what should I be doing? Tell me how to do it. What is this? What is that? You have, like, I would say those are the people that need the most work. Like, I even think about when I was trying to quick bypass things. That started with me. Time is my worst enemy. Like, I suck with time. I'm constantly battling it. So I wanted the quick and easy fix, and I definitely didn't get it. It kept falling through. I was trying to pursue something, and it just kept falling. It wasn't working. It didn't come easily because it wasn't my truth, because I was bypassing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you'll see that happen.
Oh, totally. And God, wouldn't we all just love that cheat sheet?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes.
No, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And here's the thing. I've seen, in some cases, been involved in situations where, you know, I was put in a... how am I going to put this? I was put in a position where I couldn't go back to work, and I was trying to be forced back to work. So I had no choice but to quit. And this, you know, healing stuff was the only thing I had to do on the side. I wasn't qualified for anything. A pandemic hit. Even being in a, you know, dispatch, high-paced office scenario, I was qualified for nothing. So it was like I couldn't even get other office jobs because I technically didn't have an office certificate. Had over a decade of like more than enough experience, but out the window. So I had to, you know, do this route. And I managed to reach a certain level of success. But again, because that was my journey. That was where I was meant to be. This is what I'm meant to be doing. I love it. I embrace it. I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen other people, I don't know about you, or I've even been asked, like, what did you take? How did you do this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. I got to the point where I didn't even want to tell people, because it's like, even if you did the exact same steps as me, mm-hmm. if this isn't your journey, you're not going to make it. And I'm not going to give that to you for you to just, you know, like if it's meant to be, you're going to find your own steps. That's what I did. Mm-hmm. I didn't set out to be a mentor. I didn't set out to be like a spiritual counseling coach. Like I didn't, mm-hmm. that literally fell in my lap.
Yeah. Same.
You know?
Same.
So I feel bad when people ask me, and I'm pretty, I don't know, kind of give like evasive answers now, because I'm like, no, if it's meant to be for you, it will be.
Yeah.
Just like if you're going along this path and you're a healer and that's great, you will find a way to go do it full time. Mm-hmm. You know, like you can't force it.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you said that, because that's something that happens. Like in my earlier stages, I was giving people the exact first thing that I studied. But you know what? We can probably say we've been training our whole lives for the roles that we're in now. And mm-hmm. I can see that very clearly. I am constantly researching, double analyzing, compiling, organizing information. And I love that. That's my hobby, is like research.
And I hate research, like with the past.
It has been my number one thing since I was like in high school.
I love that.
And you know what? So I was prepping research methods and organization for a really, really, really long time. And when I found the Akashic Records, they fell into my lap. I didn't even know what they were. I was at a crossroads where I had that depression. I was starting to look for other answers. And this ad, Facebook, Instagram, email chains, join this Akashic Records webinar. And I can't tell you how divinely guided that was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was everywhere to the point where I couldn't ignore it. And I never was able, like, you know how we get ads for things we're Googling or thinking about?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I signed up for this free webinar, which I did a lot of. For some reason that day I called in sick and the webinar was starting. And I was like, you know what? I happen to be free right now. I'm going to log in. Never in my entire life have I ever attended any sort of free webinar, not even ones I was supposed to do for work. This was, again, divine timing and a divine alignment. This was my path. So when people ask me, you know, what course did you study, or tell me how you did this, or will you mentor me? It's not that I don't want to, but I cannot tell you the amount of times I've actually referred the course to people and it wasn't what people expected, because it's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you study what I studied, it's brutal. You have to be dedicated to the craft, because the only way you'll get better is by showing up for it. And lots of people thought it was going to be an easy cheat sheet, and it wasn't. So you know what? They spent a bunch of money on this course I recommended, and they didn't find it valuable.
No.
So I don't refer that course anymore, because unfortunately I learned the hard way that there was lots of backlash about it. How come I didn't learn this? Is this going to be in the next module? And I'm like, no, that was something I researched personally in the Akashic Records. It's not coming in any sort of module. So I always tell people to do your own research and feel into things, because unfortunately I learned the hard way. But second of all, like, it really depends on where your strong suits lie. And trust me, if you're calling in the right course or the right mentor, it will come. Just be patient with it. Let it fall into your lap, because then you know it's the right one.
Absolutely. That's such a big thing. And I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just as a side note, when it comes to healers, when it comes to mentors, when it comes to even Akashic Record readers, what have you, do your research. Right? Just because you like our podcast, maybe we're not the right fit for you, to be fair, right? Do your research. If you resonate with us, which you probably do, because let's be honest, you're here. So yes, absolutely. Chances are we are a good match for you, but we're not going to sit here and say, only check us out, only look here, only do this, only do that, because it's just like therapists.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't vibe, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Exactly. And I say that all the time. Like, I have some people, I've really revamped my website now, so there is information on me there, but before it was very cryptic, and people would be like, what are your credentials? What's your experience? What's your background? Because they wanted to see if I was the right fit for them. And, you know, I said, if you have to question that already, it's probably very certain that I'm not the reader for you. And I would encourage you to look into different readers, because you know what? I'm sure you've had the same experience. I have had clients work with me that just like heard a good review from somebody else, and our energies totally did not jive. That session was brutal for both of us. Like, it just wasn't good. Neither of us were vibing. And honestly, like, I encourage people now to do their research on who fits and what resonates, because it's not a good time for anybody.
No, but it's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, test the waters. Like, I don't know how many fucking therapists I went through. Lots, you know, and that's just how it is. It doesn't mean that, you know, the initial healer you go to that maybe you didn't have a breakthrough or a good session with or whatever was a bad healer. It just, your energies didn't vibe.
Yeah. And sometimes it's all about that frequency again. So if you listen back a few episodes, we talk about ascension symptoms and changing and shifting frequencies. Like, if someone's, and I like to do colors instead of higher vibration or lower vibration, because we start to associate with ranking. But if you're vibrating over here at the color blue and you meet someone that's the color, you know, yellow, like, there's really very little in common with these two colors. And you try to put them together and you're just like getting this mess of green, and you're like, ooh, this is way off base for both of us. It's exactly what happens. Like, you got to just like find your other blue tribe that like sees things the way that you do, because even from where I started, the things I used to say then, because I was at a different vibrational state, totally different than what I'm talking about now. And the first few clients I would have worked with probably would not be able to understand a thing I'm saying now, or vice versa, because of the shift that I've personally made. Growth happens, frequencies are everything. So it's like, find somebody that jives, find your frequency, find your blue people.
I'm blue, dabba-dee, dabba. Anyway, it popped in my head. I couldn't help it. I had to do it.
Love it.
So when it comes to alignment, on one hand, it's super, super easy. And a lot of times it'll like, for all intents and purposes, like fall in your lap, or it'll slap you in the face and it'll be like, look at me, which is great. It's like, look, here's where my alignment lies. Hooray! Then what? Then what? That's the problem, because we expect, oh, well, this came so easy. Oh yeah, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And then it's like roadblocks. Roadblock, roadblock, roadblock. So for instance, here's an example. So like I said, I was forced out of my job, essentially, and then started this new career, and it felt good. I was, doing good, but yet things like getting clients was not easy, and it's still not super easy, right? I really struggle with things like marketing, social media, things that I had to do as a self-employed person that I suck at. And I hate it. Like I could go on a tangent about how much I despise anything marketing or social media. Like I fucking hate it. Like it makes me angry, and I have to calm myself down and be like, okay, your ego's getting all triggered here, settle down. But meanwhile, my inner child's like, it's hard. No one likes me. And I'm like, chill, inner child.
Yeah, everybody
chill.
Calm the fuck down.
You're loved. Okay. This is no need for that little tantrum, but it happens every single time.
Man, is that ever true? So fell into this course. I was really struggling at the time. I had bad karma. The course was kind of pricey, and I had like just enough left on my credit card to max it out to buy this. So I was like, okay, I love it. I went through it. Everything was awesome. But yeah, like starting to launch a business and manifest clients and stuff wasn't particularly easy. And there's two reasons that I believe that happens. Number one is that if anything comes easy, it doesn't mean anything to us. If you could manifest $1 million right now, all you would think is like, fuck yeah, can I manifest 2 million? Because it was too easy. Yeah. So we're like, what's the next best thing? Human beings, regardless of what you think of yourself or what we think of ourselves, we don't want things to come easy because it doesn't mean anything. If it was easy, what's the next challenge? We get bored. We need to be entertained. So there's a little bit of grace period where you really got to earn it, right? But then secondly, is sometimes growth happens when you're uncomfortable, right? Like
not sometimes, always.
Yeah, always.
That's when growth happens.
Yes, because if you do everything you've always done forever and ever, you will be staring into the world that you've manifested. It's going to look exactly the same because you've been performing exactly the same. So if you want to rise, you literally have to get uncomfortable. And that's what people really get worried about, is that, they're going to, I'm nervous, this isn't working, it's not coming easy, I better give up. Yeah. Nope. That's your survival instincts kicking in and saying, go back to where it's safe, because bad things don't happen there. It's very predictable. We understand. But playing it safe isn't going to get you anywhere. And I think that's another bypass that people are constantly looking into. Give me the answers, make it easy, make it cheap, make it affordable. No way. You can't have that. It's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be some changes need to be made, and it gets a little messy sometimes.
And it's a test.
It is.
I think it's a test. How bad do you want it?
How much do you believe in yourself?
Totally. So if I could have so easily just given up and said, fuck my mental health and go back to work. I could have done that. Yeah. I very easily could have.
And people expect you to do that. I still, literally just today, you guys, I had 2 people ask me, oh, are you still self-employed with your own business? Yeah, almost wrapping up 2 years here, and it's getting better every day. People just wait for it to crash and burn. And it's like, man, do you ever have an uphill battle sometimes?
But I feel like that's almost a jealousy thing. Really.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because it's like, well, fuck, maybe it can be done. You know, it's like a slap in the face. Like so many people I know stay in jobs that they hate. Their life is falling apart around them and they're just trudging along like nothing. They're resigned. This is life. It's, you know, it's meant to suck. It's meant to be hard. It's meant to be terrible.
Right. And when someone like that's successful comes along, it triggers your belief system and
there's that cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, it's like, it's not easy. It is a test. Absolutely. And it's like, most people just don't even try.
Exactly. They don't.
They don't put the work in to find the answers. They don't put the work in to feel into their happiness or study or be diligent or take risks. And I always hear so many excuses. And like, you know, let's be honest. Randy and I don't have children. So when I made my jump, I didn't have kids to think about, which is the number one thing that people use to bypass, you know? Like, how can I just quit my job and start a business? I have children. And obviously I can't speak to that struggle, but like I always hear, you know, this thing in the Akashic records that's like, you know, your kids or your husband or whoever might be upset with you when you suddenly take this risk. But you know what? When you turn it into gold, they're going to be thanking you because everyone gets to go to Disneyland.
Well, yeah.
Like
my hubby and I, like on one hand, he was super supportive. But on the other, he's like, you quit too early. You didn't fight hard enough. You didn't do this. And I'm like, I knew in my soul, why put myself through that? Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to go anywhere. You know, it would just torment me more. So I don't know. And I like mentally ill person here, like honest to God, don't know where that strength came from. Because honestly, I should have buckled, caved, and like done everything that I could. But I don't know where that came from. Good for you. But I mean, it felt so free. And this has happened a couple times in my life when I've quit a couple jobs that I just wasn't aligned to and just fucking hated. Mm-hmm. Again, no prospects, no backup. Fucked beyond all recognition on paper. I was so happy. It felt like 1,000, like the whole weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders. I should have been terrified. I should have been sick to my stomach. I should have been anxious. And here's me like, today's the best day. Mm-hmm. You know? And it's that feeling, if you've ever had it in your entire life, is just indescribable.
Absolutely. And that pulls us really beautifully into your soul speaking to you through how good it feels to navigate through that. And like, that is what we need to be chasing constantly in order to be able to step into our full alignment. And it's like not as simple as I just made it sound, because there's a whole bunch of things playing into each other, but that like soul, like passion, come alive. I feel like myself again. In this moment, I am free. Those are the feelings that will validate, am I on the right track?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's an ongoing process, because even the things, like some days I will overbook myself. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, fuck, I'm exhausted. So clearly I need to work on a couple more boundaries or tweaking a few things to the point where I'm like, fuck, I'm free. That was a great day.
Yeah.
But how do we determine the difference between, it's like, this is where it gets messy. Our thoughts are fucking loud and powerful, and they will override every other system. So some days I have to sit down with myself and be like, is this a thought pattern or a belief that I have generated that because I have to sit down all day, I'm not free? Am I really not free? Like, it's really difficult to dissect some of the thought processes or the beliefs we internalize that masquerade around like feelings.
Thoughts are interesting things. Oh, fuck, are they? Who knows where thoughts come from? They just appear. Who knows what movie's that from? By the way, shout out to all of you for the last guess of Happy Gilmore on our last podcast, whenever that was, 1 or 2 ago. That was correct. It was Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
but
nice.
Thoughts are very interesting beings, right? They're like little entities, and thoughts tell a story. And if you pay attention to your thoughts, which 99% of the time we do not. We do not pay attention to our thoughts. They just happen and we roll with them. Our thoughts trigger emotions. So what story are we ultimately telling ourselves? Because the story you're telling yourselves dictates what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what you believe you can versus what you can't do. So a lot of times I tell people, like when I work with clients, I'll sometimes get them to do a thought journal and look at your thoughts. Do random check-ins. What am I thinking right now? Jot it down. At the end of the day, you look, and that tells you a fucking story. You know? And then you got to ask yourself, who's talking? I say that to a lot of my clients. Who's talking? Is it your ego or is it your soul? Those are your options here. It's either your ego's in the driver's seat or your soul is. Because your soul would never say, my life sucks, this is terrible, blah, 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 fuck this person, fuck that person, the whole world is a bunch of assholes, blah, blah, blah. That is not how the soul speaks. The soul speaks from love. So compassion and gentleness and that more loving space doesn't mean the soul doesn't have boundaries or can't be, firm, because it can, and that could be a whole different podcast. But really, 99% of the time, our ego is the one doing the speaking. Well, what's our ego made of? Our belief systems, our conditioning, what we've been told to believe all throughout our lives. And I always fuck it up when I go to say it. I write it out beautifully. But it's like ego, external beliefs governing over your life. So pay attention, track your thoughts. So if your thoughts are telling you over and over and over all these negative things, all the reasons why you can't achieve certain things, all the reasons why no one likes you, all the reasons why you could never leave this job, all those reasons, and you look at it and it's making you feel shitty, and it's making you feel heavy, and it's making you feel yuck, and it's making you feel trapped, and it's making you feel pissed off and sad and depressed. Well, we can change that. You can actually change that. And your feelings are the perfect roadmap. So if you're not one to check in with your thoughts, what you're thinking, check into what you're feeling. How are you feeling right now? Just take a moment right now, stop and think. Do you have tension in your shoulders? Do you feel sick to your stomach? Like when we're talking about this, do you feel anxious? Or do you feel like, I'm okay, I'm loose, I'm, relaxed, or I'm intrigued, Pay attention to your feelings. The other thing, because we've kind of already talked about this in this podcast, about how we squash the feelings down, a lot of times we don't understand even what feeling we're having, right? Like, anxiety and excitement, two very different emotions, but they can feel the same. So you might assume, like let's say you have something that a new job coming up, for instance. And it's like, I've been wanting this job and I got hired, and we get there, but you're like, I'm so anxious about it. Oh my God. And so our thoughts are telling you you're anxious, you're going to fail, all these things that can go wrong. When in reality, if you just think, no, I'm actually excited. I'm excited to do this. I've manifested this. This is going to help me along the way. Da, 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 da. Do you see how it's a seesaw? And it's your choice.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Whew.
And you are really good at explaining that.
Thank
separating
you.
those two pieces, because they're really complicated in my head. So that's good.
Well, that's good. I've had lots of practice.
Oh, yeah. It's becoming self-aware. Like, honestly, if you need, how can I find my authentic self so that I can get into that full alignment and receive abundance and step into my fullness? It's going to be that self-assessment of separating thoughts from feelings. And don't forget that thoughts are inherently creative. We create these thoughts, and they are little entities that start to take on their own existence.
Yep.
So check your thoughts, because while there's a lot more to manifestation, it's not just simply thinking about something incessantly till it manifests, because good luck with that. But we're creating these thoughts. So it's, again, separating. Am I going to listen to my ego, or am I going to start focusing on what my soul is focused on. Because I heard this, it's really a great description, and I don't know where I got it from. I found it online, so I'm just like butchering someone else's information. But it's like the universe is a lot like Facebook or Instagram. There's algorithms that throw your interests into your newsfeed. And if you're clicking on articles about world pollution and the pandemic and all these like really crazy things, the Facebook algorithm thinks you're really fascinated by that and you like it. So then you get every article about the pandemic and every article about world pollution. And you're looking into this lens that looks negative and scary and overwhelming, but you created that based on what you're focusing on.
You literally chose it.
Yeah. So when you keep choosing to give life to what your ego's saying, like doubt and failure and I can't and I'm not worthy and I'm not gifted, you will literally pull in circumstances and scenarios that highlight, yes, you should probably doubt yourself, that you're not gifted, that you can't do it, and you're not worthy. You're attracting that. People will start to question and challenge you and make you feel small and insignificant. So when you start to choose feelings and listening to what your soul is really saying to you, you're going to focus on that love, that abundance, that faith, that I'm worthy, I'm valuable, and you will start to manifest and attract that. And you'll start to have people that want to lift you up and cheerlead you, and you'll have opportunities coming to knock at your door because you focused on that and you chose to put your energy there. And the algorithms of the universe say, oh, she wants this or he wants this versus that. Let's filter her newsfeed and her reality with more things that are in alignment with where she's focused or he's focused.
Absolutely. And I mean, you guys, there's something called confirmation bias. So whatever you're looking for is what you're going to get. Meanwhile, there could be 100 times more proof to the opposite in your life, but you're not looking at that because you've disregarded it, that it's not real. Well, not that necessarily that it's not real, but that it doesn't matter because that doesn't fit your narrative you've chosen, right? So you're only going to look at the confirmation of the proof that you were right in this initial belief. So many times, again, I work with clients and we have this shitty belief system. And we're like, okay, where's the proof? And we're going through it and it's hard for them. It's hard for them to find the proof. Yet we get to the other side and it's like, oh, well, there's this and there's this and there's this and there's this. Well, why?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we choose because we choose not to look.
Exactly.
Right? So I find that just so fascinating. And I hate to make it sound like this is all the other people. I did this too. I still do this.
Oh yeah, same.
And I have to check myself daily. And it's like, okay, whoa, where's the proof of that? Why are you thinking that?
Exactly.
So when it comes to authenticity, fuck, I have such a hard time with that word. And it's literally in my title.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, no, authentic is in my title, not authenticity.
Easy. Yes.
But so when we think about, our authentic selves, here's an exercise for you. And this is something, again, I do with my clients. So it's like you're getting a free session with me right now. But okay, so if your goal is to find out who you are on a true authentic level, it's time to get really real with yourself. But it's also a fun exercise. So I want you to dream up and just let yourself dream, okay? What does your authentic self look like? What do they dress like? What kind of clothes, how do they talk? What job are they in? What do they do? What do they say? What do they feel? What does their day look like? Again, physically, emotionally, what are their relationships like? And just dream that up. What does it look like? If I handed you this new life on a silver fucking platter, it was like, I'm going to wave my magic wand, snap my fingers, and you're authentic. So tell me what that looks like so I could wave my wand. Because once you have that, you can see all the ways you're already showing up as it and all the ways that you already could in this moment.
Wow. So That's amazing because it's like crazy that Randy and I, like, I tell this to my clients as well, but in a totally different language, but it's the same thing because truth is truth is truth.
Yep.
Like, that's how you manifest. Who are you really? Figure out what that person is. Use your soul to vibe into it. What makes you come to life? Where are you? What are you doing? What do you look like? And it should evoke a lot of excitement. And like, I would give anything to be in that person's shoes right now. And you have to manifest. You got to close the gap on what it is you are. So if this is you up here, but you're literally living the exact opposite of that, the universe takes a lot of energy to torture ourselves and be inauthentic.
Yes.
And the universe is like, you want to be yourself. And it's not that hard because all you got to do is be you. But you're drowning in these beliefs, these egos, these wounds, these victim mentalities, this bypassing. That's hard work. We go to jobs we hate. We stay in relationships that drain us. We do things for people that make us upset. Karma is like, you must actually want this instead because that's what you're creating and focusing on. So if you want to manifest that authentic self, you got to close the gap and you got to start walking in that person's shoes today. Get up 10 minutes earlier, get dressed, get up, make a good meal for yourself. If you want to be a mentor, a spiritual mentor, are you going to work every day and sitting in the back seat? Mentor people now. Be a leader at your organization now. And you're going to outgrow the fuck out of that place and have the tools and techniques you need to become a spiritual mentor.
Yep. Like if you want to be a leader, start being a leader today. And I had for instance, I had one client and I just love her, shouts out to her. But it was something as simple as in her authentic version of herself, she wore dangly earrings. And I said, well, do you wear dangly earrings? Well, no. So I gave her homework of literally every day, wear them dangly earrings.
100%.
And by the next session, the amount of like just personalized like confidence and growth for one simple thing, that's all it was. Wearing fucking dangly earrings made such a shift. And it can be that simple. And baby steps. There's ways that you can be your authentic self right now in this moment if you just choose to do it.
Oh, and that's a really powerful statement because something else I also notice with manifestation is the body's very dense and heavy. It's our heaviest, densest part of ourselves. So what we do to our body manifests 10 times as fast because it requires 10 times as much effort to do with the body what we do. So wear the clothes you want to wear now, put the dangly earrings on, eat proper, get outside. And then like for me, I was like, I don't know if you ever really saw me. I think you have, but it was worse even before we met. I was so meek and small. And I look back at pictures and I look meek and small. I naturally have like a red tinge to my hair, but it was very strawberry blondie and I kept it strawberry blonde. I really wanted tattoos. I really wanted to be the true weird person I am inside, but I tweaked my appearance even to keep myself small. So guess what I manifested? Being overlooked, being unseen, being unheard. So then all of a sudden I quit my job and I felt super liberated to be the best version of myself. I got a bunch of tattoos. My hair is super bright now. I wear the clothes I've always wanted to wear and my confidence and being seen has like quadrupled. And the insecure person that was inside was still there. But that changing of my body or my appearance to be more in alignment gave me more confidence. And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I have more confidence. I feel more like myself. I start to speak more like myself. I start to embody more like myself. And I get a couple steps closer every day to that authentic self. And all I did was just different color hair or putting on the outfit I actually wanted to wear and not self-regulating.
Yeah. Totally.
It's amazing what you'll manifest by embodying what you need to be, what you want to be right now. It'll shift everything.
Totally. And like I said, it could be one thing.
Yeah. One thing.
When I used to go to work, because we didn't really, we had a dress code sort of. It was like business casual or whatever. but I did it through shoes. It was like if I wore a funky pair of shoes, even though I was wearing these like business casual clothes, I hate them. They do not look good on me. I feel uncomfortable constantly. Like I'm a casual girl, you know, like give me a sundress or, you know, a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and a slouchy cardigan or something, or a bunny hug. Like give me that. Don't put me in business. Like I look wrong. I feel wrong.
Totally.
But if I had a funky pair of shoes, then at least I had a piece of me.
Yes.
You know?
Oh man, I can't believe how uncomfortable I was every day I got dressed and went to my job. Yeah, it was business casual, but I worked with a lot of really conservative people. So I was really, really conservatively dressed and I was uncomfortable. I hated getting dressed for work. I hated having 2 separate wardrobes, one for life and one for work. Like, oh, the worst. I hated that. And I was miserable. I felt shitty all day because I wasn't like wearing the clothes that I want. And I'd say I like to dress up kind of like, I can't, like a good shade of lipstick. That makes me feel like me. So this pandemic bullshit's killing me because you have to wear a mask everywhere.
Oh yeah, and your lips.
It sucks.
Yeah. I used to do it through makeup too. But the older I get, the less I do it through makeup. And which is funny because I used to, again, that was something I prided myself on, right? Because I mean, technically I have a certificate in makeup artistry even.
What? I didn't know that. That's cool. I wonder why. I seen your makeup the other day. I was like, fuck, that looks nice. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. But I grew out of it. But then I realized, why was I doing it?
Right.
Right? Why? Because, you know.
You know what's funny? Mine's like the opposite. So I love dressing up. It makes me feel so good, but I don't like to be seen. I really don't like people paying attention to me. So the way I actually want to dress naturally draws a little bit of attention. I just tune it out. Like if you ask me what my authentic self is, she is gallivanting and traveling and dressed like incredibly, but nobody, like I don't like, just no one pays attention. It's just like, she's there being a weird, I like definitely don't, like I don't blend in, but no one's watching, you know? Isn't that weird?
That is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's funny. Oh, that probably went weird. We had a little upset in our, this is me in charge of technology. So naturally things are fucking up constantly.
Oh, for sure.
You've been following us for a while. You know that technology and I are not good friends.
And I've seen it. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
So I apologize. That fucked up because that was totes.
Because Randy's here.
Me. Me and my fucked up energy.
Yes.
Oh, God. Anyway, so here's the thing, guys. We could keep going on this topic for days, weeks, months, probably. But we're not going to do that to you. We've given you, you know, a few tips. We've given you kind of an explanation of how we ended up on our paths. Not in depth. And if you guys want that, then let us know on our new Facebook page and everything. We will put the links in the description of this somewhere, I'm sure. So do go follow us there, please and thank you. But we need you to find who you are at a soul level. Find that authentic self, because the more you do show up, because if you're sitting there and telling me you don't know what that looks like, that's fucking bullshit. And it's another excuse.
Bypassing.
We should get merch. Bypassing.
Yeah.
But if you're holding yourself back, you have no one to blame but you. So start showing up as your authentic self in little bits each day. The more you start showing up as your authentic self, the more you're going to find your alignment falls in your lap.
And that is where the magic happens. Manifestation happens when we close the gap from what we are and what we want and how we're showing up. And then that's where you can manifest constantly. So finding your alignment is more than just like a research project that you're bypassing. It's literally where success and love and freedom come from.
Yeah. The two biggest things that my clients put on their forms, their new client forms, is like, why do you want to work with me? Freedom and authenticity.
Nice.
Totally. And they go hand in hand, people. They go hand in hand. You know what's funny is I actually made an Instagram post today about freedom.
Oh yeah, you did. I seen
That's
it.
so funny. I just realized that right now.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. I feel this new way that we're doing the podcast, we're not gonna tell you what the next episode's gonna be about, because we're channeling in the energies that are relevant for that week.
Yeah.
You know, we just tried to like flip some cards and figure out what was next, and we just kept getting what we're talking about today.
Totally.
So we were like, we gotta wait for the energy to shift before we know what's relevant. So,
and that being said, you guys, also, what do you guys want to hear about? We will talk about it. We will chat about it. We will, like, we want you to be involved in this. You know, we're in this shit together. And we're not just gonna preach at you.
And that was the intention behind this podcast, is like, when I was going through my awakening, it was a fucking lonely place to be.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like my family couldn't understand me. I didn't know where to go for connection or community or understanding. It was just me researching all by myself. And that's a freaking lonely, closed off place to be. Totally. So this is a podcast created from the wounds that we felt in our awakening.
The lack of connection and understanding.
So please let us know, like, what are some of the things that still plague you? What are some interesting stories that you'd like to hear, that how did Randy and I manage through it? Or how are we managing through it?
On the daily.
Oh, seriously.
Also, you guys, we're going to put, if you guys want, we're going to put in our email as well as our contact. Probably going to be on the Instagram page, Facebook page, in this description, probably, whatever. But we want to hear also your stories, because I think it would be really fun. Now, we haven't launched it yet, but we're launching a Patreon. And so one of the things we want to do, of course, to our patrons, we want to give them shouts out on each podcast here, but we also want to do like a spotlight on some of our listeners. You know, tell us your story, tell us an interesting tidbit or a little snippet, send us a story. We would love to share that, whether it's just on the Patreon side or whether it's with everyone. We'll decide that later, but let us know, what are you feeling?
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love, like, I want to hear your guys' stories too. Like, that's as much my interest as probably anyone else listening. Like, yeah, send us an email. Tell us about something that was hilarious or a victory or, you know, a sore spot.
Whatever. Because we want to hear, like, this podcast, sure, it's about us, but more importantly, it's about us as a collective.
Yes. It is a real journey.
No shit. And we learn from each other, right? So your situation is going to be different than Kayla's. Kayla's is different than mine. Mine's different than yours. And yet we're all kind of in the same awakening shit.
Yeah.
So we learn from each other.
Yes, you know? Absolutely. I feel that. And it's so nice to know you're not alone. Oh my God.
So much so. Oh my God. Where was this? Where was this when I needed it?
Totally.
But yeah, let us know what you guys want. We will keep you updated. Follow the new pages. We are excited to get this going. We'll let you know when Patreon launches, probably on social media. And there's going to be like bonus episodes on there, you guys, like only episodes you can get there. So make sure you check that out when we launch. And yeah, I think we have talked your ear off enough for one day.
Totally.
So yeah, until next time. And like we said, we're not telling you what next time is because
it'll likely be exactly what's relevant to the energies for that week. So that's something I'm excited about.
Me too. I like to now it's like something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's actually interesting for me too to know what spirit thinks is relevant for people at that time. Like, it's relevant for me too. Like, I need to know.
Totally. It's like, oh, and are we gonna do it through the cards, or are guys just one day gonna be like, listen, bitches, this?
Totally.
Because that happens.
Yeah, it does. Definitely.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the new podcast. Let us know what you think. We want to know your thoughts, hear and feel all about you. So until next time, I'm Randy.
And I'm Kayla.
And we'll chat to you soon. Bye.